Assalamu alaikum guys, welcome to chapter 9.8 and 9.9. We're doing two lessons today. Both lessons are going to be pretty short and it's fairly easy. So today you are determining the area of trapezoids and you're also finding the volume of prisms, rectangular prisms, and you've done that in 5th grade, so that's why I combined both. So let's go to area of trapezoids. Now trapezoid is an equilateral. It has two bases in this case. The two bases are the lines that are parallel to one another. So for the formula, here we go. Area is equal to 1/2 B1 plus B2 times the height. So understand that the bases are the two parallel lines. Base 1, base 2, it doesn't matter whether 25 is base 1 or 15 is base 2. What matters is that you add them both together, okay? Now, the height is always where the right angle is at. So in this case, the 9 feet indicates that the height of this trapezoid is 9 feet. So the half applies to the average of base 1 and base 2. If you add up the two bases and you divide by 2, you're averaging out the bases, and what that does, it spreads out the lengths, and it should create, if you reshape it, into some type of rectangle, okay? So let's go ahead and plug in our values. Area is equal to 1/2, and remember I said B1, B2, doesn't matter which way you put it, whether it's 15 plus 25 or 25 plus 15. Don't forget that the height is where the right angle is at, which is 9. So area is equal to 1/2, and then what's 15 plus 25? It is a total of 40, right? So 40 and then times 9. And remember that you do order of operations as you wish. I know that I can get half of 40 easily, which is 20. So I'm going to go ahead and apply the half to 40, which is 20, and then multiply it to 9. So in this case, 20 times 9 is 180. And what are we talking about? We're talking about area, and area is always a square unit. So my final answer, area is equal to 180 feet squared. Okay, so that's how easy a trapezoid is. Yes, it might get confusing as far as where are the bases, but remember, the bases are always the two parallel lines. Understand that parallel means they will never intersect, so these two bases will never intersect. However, if they give you measurements here, you know that if these lines extend at one point or another, they're going to meet, so they're no longer parallel, right? So let's show you another type of parallelogram. And how do you pull information out? So let's say, for example, we have a parallelogram in this shape, and the information given to you is 14 cm. On this end, 10 cm. Over here is 21 cm. And then they're going to have a right angle right there. And this is 8 cm. Remember, we start with the formula. Area is equal to 1/2, parentheses open, B1 plus B2 times the H. Now, in this one, we have a lot of numbers. So remember, identify your base 1 and base 2. Your base 1, base 2 are the two lines that are parallel. So, and sometimes the trapezoids can be twisted, okay? So be careful. Base 1, base 2 is my 21 and 14. Okay, those are the two lines that are parallel. Now, my height, be careful with the extra information. Sometimes a trapezoid can have extra information. This question can be asking you for perimeter, so if you know all the measurements around, you can get perimeter, right? But in this case, it's asking you for area, so you need the height. And remember I said, locate the right angle. Is the right angle on this side? Absolutely not. But the right angle is over here, so therefore my height is 8 cm, okay? So let's go ahead and plug in. Area is equal to 1/2. My base 1, like I said, it's interchangeable, doesn't matter which one is where. Let's say 21 plus 14. Then times my height, remember we said 8. And area is equal to 1/2. What's 21 plus 14? It's 35, right? So 35 times 8. Now, half of 35 is going to give me a decimal, but I know that half of 8 is 4. So I'm going to go ahead and apply the half to the 8. So area is equal to, What's 1/2 of 8? 4. Don't forget I still have the 35. And now maybe at this point it's so much easier to go ahead and multiply. So in this case, 4 times 35, if you have to take it to the side, 35 times 4, it will give you 140. So area is equal to 140. What are we talking about? Centimeters. And don't forget that area is a square unit, okay? So it's 140 centimeters squared. And that's basically the gist of 9.8, guys. Now let's go to 9.9. 9.9, here we go. You are to determine the volume of a rectangular prism. So for the first question, disregard this right now. For the first question, they want to know the volume of this rectangular prism. Now go back to 5th grade, guys. What was volume? Volume is equal to length times width times height. The length is always the distance across the front, which is 10. The width is how far back it goes. In this case, it's 5. And then the height is how tall the prism is. And in this case, it's 8. So volume is equal to 10 times 5 is 50. Drop the 8 down. And then 50 times 8, some of you can do that mentally. It is 400, right? Now, what are we talking about? We're talking about meters. And remember, we're talking about volume. So volume, in this case, is 400 meters cubed. Now for the next one, it's a word problem. It doesn't give you a picture, but it gives you information. A shoebox has dimensions of 11.5 inches, 7 inches, and 3.5 inches. The question is, what's the volume? Usually on a rectangular prism, guys, whenever they give you the measurements, this is the length, the width, and the height. So you don't have to figure out which one is which. Usually they're given to you in that order, okay? So here we go. Volume is equal to length times width times height. Volume is equal to 11.5 times 7 times 3.5. And in this case, it's not easy to multiply, mentally. So you're probably going to have to take it to the side, multiply 11.5 times 7. You should get, let's see, I think I did it in one step, unfortunately, guys. So 11.5 times 7 gives you 80.5. All right? And let me just make sure that that is correct. 11.5 times 7 is 80.5. And then multiply that by 3.5. So if you multiply it by 3.5, you should get 281.71. So let me just tilt you a little bit more so you can see the bottom of my word. Volume is equal to 281.75. We are talking about inches, and volume is always a cubic unit because we are using 3 dimensions to figure out volume, okay? So that's the gist of both lessons. You don't have that many problems to do, but inshallah you found the lessons to be easy. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to come to class, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum.